Welcome to another episode of Reese's Reviews, and yes, I have returned. My name is Matt, and joining me on this podcast today is the guy who decided to name himself after a bit of peanut butter chocolate from America. It's Reece. Spelled differently, though.
I'm never going to let that one down. I'm always going to be referred to that Reese's Buttercups, aren't I?
Yeah, Reese's Pieces.
Yeah.
And so
good way to start things off.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for listening, tuning in, and and also thanks, Reece. You were awesome flying solo for the last couple of episodes.
I appreciate that. It was a learning curve. I can definitely say that. I definitely take a lot more appreciation of having you around and bouncing things off yourself. So,
stop it! Shucks.
Yeah,
well, the reason why I had and Reece had kind of somewhat explained it. I went on a bit of an adventure, and basically when I went to the US and lived my life a little bit. So
and so you should.
Yes, and in fact, when I was over there, I watched a movie, which we will be reviewing in this episode. So we have two news and episodes, or two new movies, and was it a classic or
no? No. Well, I think all three are fresh new releases. So this is a change of pace for this episode. We're not actually delving into a classic review this week. It's all three fresh, brand new releases. So yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into the one where I can actually talk about because I've seen the movie. We've already reviewed these on our own Letterboxd accounts. And if you check our show notes for this episode, you'll see you can follow us there. CashelSkyGuy and Matt Fulton, .com.au. Now, this one is it's a firm favorite. I'm already going to say no. Actually, I was going to give away my ratings already for it, but it is a tribute / reboot / sequel to.
I would say a
sequel and a soft reboot.
A legacy sequel. I would say it's a legacy sequel.
Yes, it is The Naked Gun.
Yep.
The 2025 version starring Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson, with Liam Neeson playing Frank Drebin Jr., being the son of Frank Drebin from Police Squad and from the original Naked Gun movies and Police Squad, the TV show.
Yeah.
So, which was filmed in the 80s and 90s.
Yep.
Now, this is pure slapstick comedy. Okay, straight up, I fucking loved it. I fucking loved this film, and it exceeded my expectations. It was just pure turn off your brain and just laugh. Like, I saw this in the Chinese cinemas in was it TCL cinema?
Yeah,
TCL?
The Chinese theater.
Chinese theater in downtown LA in Hollywood, and the cinema was about a quarter full because it's towards the end of its run in the US.
Yep.
And I was laughing my head off. I wish it was a full cinema, but it was just so great. The whole point with this movie was that, Frank Drebin Jr. Is trying to follow the plot device. So now, if you've seen the movie, you'll get that. He's trying to follow the plot device, as well as trying to find as well who killed basically Pamela Anderson's brother. So that's as simple as it put, because anything else that is explained that we would say will completely spoil it. So, but yeah, the casting is sensational. The jokes are second to none. It just delivered beautifully. And this movie, I so want to see again and again and again, because like there were moments where you'll see visual gags or whatever, and I was just cacking myself laughing. No one else was getting it because they're listening out for audio cues or whatever. And then there'll be something in the background or something quickly appearing. And then, bam, I'm just off. Like, I've never laughed so hard in a cinema for a long time. So,
that's good to hear, mate.
yeah. So I straight up. Well, actually, no. You tell me what you thought. Actually, before I give you my
if you've got your train of thought going, so keep going.
It's on par with the originals. Okay. So yeah, it's great. It's a great legacy film, directed by Akiva Schaffer, who's part of The Lonely Island, as well as written or produced by Seth MacFarlane.
Yep.
Hearty laugh and on par with the originals. I give it a 5 out of 5.
Okay, so, wow, that is a. I think you're at the same point as me when you give out 5 stars. They're very rare. I'm very choosy when it comes to giving out 5-star ratings. So I think you are the same. Whenever I reviewed your Letterboxd,
it's great modern slapstick. It is great modern slapstick, and they make the jokes so obvious where they go, yeah, we can't go there, but let's just point it out that we did go there. Yeah. So it's okay. It's nice. So awesome, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Please tell me what you thought.
Okay, so in preparation on this film, I did what you said. I went back and watched the original before I went and saw this because I knew I was watching it. So I went back and I watched it, and I realized I downloaded this onto my phone to watch the original on the train. I got 15 minutes into the original on the train when I realized I had to turn it off because I couldn't watch it on the train because I was laughing and it would be very disruptive to the people around me. So I knew I had to watch it when I returned to it when I got home so I actually laugh when I can laugh. So I found the original hilarious. I think I gave it like 4 stars on Letterboxd. I love the original. So I had a kind of expectation when I went into this one, and it fell short for me.
Oh, okay.
This one I just found it was Mission Impossible plus Kingsman with the original, with some plot points of the original, and you put them together and you get the Naked Gun. Like, I saw so many tropes from the original Kingsman in this film, along with some points about Mission Impossible. So I found that point. I found that a lot of it, they used some of the jokes from the first one, from the original. They recycled them in their own kind of way for this new one, and
they're paying tribute.
Yeah, so I knew that was coming, and I just think like a lot of the jokes didn't land. Some of them did. Not a lot of them did. Maybe I was in that point where you were saying that a lot of people was looking for the cues and things like that. Just some of them just didn't pick up from me. But with saying that, Liam Neeson was casted perfectly. He provided that role. He was like, anyone who thinks that Liam can't do comedy, all he has to do is think of Ted 2 in that one clip. Sorry, the first Ted, and then this, and then this, and then you got a million ways to die in the West. Like,
yeah,
Liam can do comedy, and this is just puts him in his lane. He's perfectly for it. I found it was very much that point, and I love the fact that they slapstick comedies are making a comeback, and they can take some risks, and they do certain jokes that they can still get away with, and people are not going to be too precious about it. And I think that it worked with this film at that point. I just think that if I were to compare, when I try my best to take my brain out of her original and just take a new film on its merit. I try my best to do it, but I just realized when I walked out of this one where I didn't actually find I laughed as much as I did with the first one.
Fair enough.
So that's not saying I didn't enjoy it. I didn't regret watching it. I found that some of the comedy cuts worked, especially when people who have seen the movie, you know what I'm going to be pointing out, but there is a section of this film where all I was thinking about the entire time was Austin Powers 2, on a certain scene when they're looking through a window, when a guy's looking for a window, and all I was thinking about in that scene was Austin Powers, because that's where I first saw that kind of comedy and that visual comedy being made, and I was pissing myself laughing that entire scene. I was laughing. I think I was the only one in the cinema laughing in that point. So I found the thing. There was a lot moments in it where I laughed. I just didn't laugh as much as I did with the original. So I wouldn't rate it as high as I did with the original. I gave this one on Letterboxd 3 stars with a like, and I gave the original 4 stars. So that is pretty much my point. So I do enjoy it. If anyone who likes slapstick humor, very kind of that kind of rundown main comedy, then I would say definitely go and have some fun. It's not taking yourself too seriously because it is a slapstick humor film. So just go have some fun.
Now, do you think if you rewatched again, and then you might give it a bit more of a star rating if you find more jokes in it?
I think it's one of those things, like especially with a lot of films, and I'm reviewing, it's one of those things when you can digest it a bit. Like maybe I think about it at one point, like I can give a film 3 stars today, but once I've had time to mellow within the film and think about it a bit more and things like that, I could end up giving it a higher rating, and some films can do a lower rating. I also comes down to, especially with comedies, I find that especially with comedies, they need to be experienced with other people. And I think
it needs to be experienced with the full cinema. I think
with the full cinema, or just go with somebody. Like I think that I guaranteed if I went and saw it with yourself, then I think I would have found it a bit more funny because I would have been able to bounce off you and get more context and get more context.
If you were sitting next to me watching that movie, I probably would have nudged you with my elbow. Go, did you get that joke? Did you get that joke?
Yeah, exactly. So
but there was someone sitting on my row, like all the way further down, and then every now and then, like I hear them laugh, but not their partner. And so I'm going, yeah, you got that joke. And
so I think that's like they say, films are experiential events. Films are there to be experienced with other people, and that's why a good thing about it. You go to the cinema with a bunch of strangers, and you're all getting the same experience, whether that's going to be horror, terror, laughter, romance, whatever it is. And I think that, especially with a film like this, it needs to be experienced. Like I was in the cinema. I think there was only maybe about 7 other people in the cinema when I went and watched this. And I think that if I had that more of a opening weekend crowd, I would have laughed a bit more. Or most session, like you just said, I would have. If I went with yourself, I think I might have laughed a bit more of it. But going by myself, not a big huge attending when it comes to the screening. I didn't find myself laughing as much. So.
Well, I guess it's just like, and I watched this on the weekend. Finally, Superman. So
so I know this is going to be off topic a bit, but I want to know where your thoughts, because a lot of people gave this praise. I gave this high praise when I reviewed it.
This is I'm segging this in because of what you just said. Seeing it with people. I watched it at home, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. So I was expecting a bit more. Like I could see James Gunn's fingerprints all over this.
Yep.
Like this, I just saw this is
especially with that Mr. Terrific, especially that Mr. Terrific scene when he's going into the portal.
Yeah, and it's just the like
camera
fisheye lens type, the camera angles and stuff. Yeah, like that. I just went
and
just so Guardians of the. Yeah, and
the script is him all over,
and with the humor, and it also just shows that Superman he made him more human, like just prone
relatable
to accidents, and so and that he can't do everything and anything. But I
that's one of the biggest plot points, like big story character points of Superman is the fact that
character.
Yeah, it is, because Superman is the most powerful being on the planet. And so how can you make a character like that relatable when he's almost on the version of a deity in some people's minds in that comic book world? Because he can do so much, he's so powerful. How can you ground them to make a audience relate to him? And the fact that they used that point of fact of he's been around for 3 years, he's always never lost a battle until right now. And everyone was coming out saying, "Oh, he was so weak in that movie." No, if you listen to the opening crawl, he's been Superman for 3 years, and he's never lost a battle until now.
Yeah, because after 3 years of study, they've worked out his weaknesses.
Yeah, worked out how to work it. And then it wasn't until, like, yes, he was getting his ass beaten throughout the film, but towards the end when he got the upper hand and Crypto destroyed all the little bots and everything, as soon as they took that away from him, he was completely fine kicking the butts. So there's a lot of plot points in that. So, yeah, go back to what you're saying.
In regards to that, like, if I had watched Superman with you in the cinema, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more.
It's experiential. Experiential. I watched it with a packed out cinema and IMAX.
Yeah, I was going to say I probably would have enjoyed it more on IMAX or whatever, but for how I watched it, and I did keep getting the odd interruption, so
so it wasn't like a full focus on the actual experience of it.
And I couldn't concentrate too much. So that's where I'm segging it into the Naked Gun, where I think I would have enjoyed it more with an audience.
Yeah, well, that's probably the good theatre experience. Screen, I think that's when the theatre experience comes into it, because you're watching things at home. There's so many things you can get distracted by. You get interrupted. You pause things. You go up and get teas, and you can get interrupted by your phone. But when you go into the theatre, your phone's away. You're in a theatre with a bunch of strangers, and the lights go down, and you're paying for that experience. So everything's away, and you're just focusing on the film, and you get that experience. So I think that's where everything comes into it. And yeah, it all comes down to how you experience a film, is how it can adapt to how you liked it and how you rate it. So maybe how I felt about Naked Gun is, it looks like it's been the exact same way with yourself with Superman. If you saw it with me and I saw this with you, then we could have had completely different experiences and different thought process when it comes to how we find this film.
Exactly, yeah. So there we go. So what did you give Naked Gun again?
I gave it 3 stars. And I gave it 3 stars with a thumbs up.
Naked Gun 5 with a large coffee.
That gag got me every single time. Especially the electric car scene. That electric car scene got me so much at the beginning with that. I went, oh my goodness gracious. There was a lot of good moments in this film where I was laughing. I found myself laughing a lot more with the original, that's all.
Yeah, and another part where, he's shooting the window out.
He puts on the glove in the beginning. That got me.
He puts on the glove and then he uses his other hand to... it's the subtle things. Yeah.
I picked up... I was the only one who laughed in the cinema at that point.
That's what I laughed too. Yeah, it's like he's gone and picked up evidence with his bare hand.
There was a lot of... It had a lot of good moments. Moments, yeah.
All right, from slapstick humour to something, I guess. Would this be a bit more serious, Reece?
No, going into... This is probably an adaptation. This would probably be an adaptation of a novel, so it wouldn't be serious. This is a different point. So this is another brand new release. This got released on Netflix recently, maybe about last week. And this is a film directed by, one of my personal favorites.
So it's a Netflix exclusive.
A Netflix original film. So I have a very fandom fascination with this director of Chris Columbus. He's pretty much he's responsible for a lot of my childhood. So he gave us Home Alone 1 and 2. He gave us Goonies. He gave us the first 2 Harry Potters. He gave us the first Percy Jackson. So he's very much able to bring up open worlds and different experiences and bring people together. And this film is based off of a book of the same name and has a fantastic cast. We have Helen Mirren, we have Pierce Brosnan, we have Ben Kingsley, we have Celia Imrie, we have Daniel Mays, we have Tom Ellis, we have Jonathan Pryce, David Tennant.
Wow.
This film was like a massive, big English fanfare for anyone who's a fan of the pure talent that comes out of that country. You even got Jeffrey Bell and Richard E. Grant in it as well. I was watching this film with my wife and just sitting and watching it and just thinking, who isn't in this film that's from the UK? They got royalty, and Chris Columbus pretty much has gone when he's doing his promoting for this film. Sorry, if I backtrack. The film that I'm talking about is The Thursday Murder Club. That's the film I'm talking about. Now, Chris Columbus, he made a point in his marketing when he said that when he was doing Harry Potter, he put out the talk call like the certain actors he loved to work with, which is where he'd love to work with Maggie Smith, he'd love to work with Richard Harris, he'd love to work with Alan Rickman, and he got to do that. And then he just pretty much said, oh, well, he wanted to do that again with this film and go, okay, well, I'll just my top choices. Let's see. I love to work with these people. I love to work with Helen and Pierce and Ben and Celia. Just see what, and all four of them said yes, and he was able to work with these. And this film is a pretty much what the title says. It's a Thursday murder club. So these four retirees are in this retirement home, and on Thursdays and like during the week they solve murders, cold cases, and things like that. But the good thing is that each one of them brings a skill, and they're all got different past about what they were before they retired into this nice mansion in which they all sit, and they all bring things new. So it's a nothing doesn't take itself so seriously, like it's a full-on murder mystery like Death on the Nile or Murder on the Orient Express. It's not a full-on serious one. It does have light-heartedness and has some great little UK humor in it, done beautifully by Celia Imrie. I think she's one of the most key comedy parts in the film, and it was just a lot of fun to watch. They all work perfect off each other. Helen Mirren is Helen Mirren. Like, this woman is absolutely. I love watching her on screen. Like, the fact that she was the age she is, and she can still do action. She can still do drama. She can do so many amazing things. Like, I think of her in Red. Like, she's brilliant in Red. I just love her in Red. And then she goes, and then she has a pick of a litter, and then she goes, you know what? She loves the Fast and Furious. I want to go do Fast and Furious. She delves into that world. She can just do whatever she wants. And the fact that she was able to do this for Netflix and work with Chris Columbus, it was done beautifully. There are some little twists and turns, just like every other murder mystery. Is it I find the film where it lacked a bit is because it wasn't, even though it's an adaptation from a book. I didn't find too much originality with it because there were a lot of predictability throughout it. You can kind of tell where the story was going, and it did drag on a tiny bit with certain moments, things like that. But what you stick around for is the characters. You actually really like the characters, what they do, and there's comedy timing, physical humor, vocal humor. The script is done beautifully, and Chris Columbus just knows how to get great performances and just let the actors play, and he's so well doing that.
I've got a question for you.
Sure, go for
it. Elephant in the room. Is it a rip-off or a carbon copy or anything to do with Only Murders in the Building, the TV series on Disney Plus?
I personally couldn't tell you because I've never seen the series.
Okay, because Only Murders in the Building is about three people who are obsessed with true crime podcasts, and in their building there's a murder and they want to try and solve it.
Well, it's not specifically related to that. These three end up starting off as three, which is Pierce, Ben, and Helen. They just solve they're wanting to solve this cold case, and they just wanted, and that's what they're doing. They're wanting to do it, and then something happens within the plot that brings it home a bit more close to home for them, and just in the story unravels from there, and that's when they joined in by Cecilia's character and things like that. And that's a good thing is they have pasts that they all have. Their occupation they had in the past benefits them with how they can solve certain clues and things like that, which is very well done. I just think that there were certain points where it dragged a little bit when it comes to the pacing and things like that. But other than that, you just stick around for the character, which is so much fun. And they do so well where they go into different parts of showing off the UK and showing different depths about the characters, and it's expanding to see how things kind of work within that realm. So I found it thoroughly enjoyable. I don't think it's one of those films like once you've seen it, you've seen it. It's not. I don't think you would revisit it again and again. Maybe if you're at a certain demographic, you might. But for my generation at the moment, I don't think you. I think I would, but I still gave it 3.5 stars. Like I still gave it more of a thumbs up than I did previously. It's just that I also showcases a lot of the estate that they used in it, which is Englefield Estate. When I was watching it, I was thinking that it looked a lot like the castle from Downton Abbey, but then in certain angles, good thing because I was watching it with my wife, who's a big Downton Abbey fan. She goes, "Oh, it kind of does, yeah. I don't think it is." And I looked it up; it wasn't. So Englefield is the estate that they use for the retirement state that the people will live in, and it's so beautiful. And you can only find that in the UK. It's so beautiful, and it's just like Chris Columbus. He knows how to do his wide shots to show off certain landscapes and points, which he did the same thing with the first two Harry Potter films, with showcasing London and showcasing Alnwick Castle and all that kind of stuff. So I just found it was done very, very good. And the fact that we actually have again, in the minority, we have a Netflix film that doesn't suck, because Netflix films are notorious for sucking. I'm sorry, Netflix, but they do. You're 9 times out of 10, your films suck. You put so much effort into amazing TV shows, but the films aren't great. The fact of it's been trumped recently because of the K-pop Demon Hunters, but before that, their number one film on Netflix, original film, was Red Notice with Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. That film isn't great. So the fact that was number one for a long time shows you what their caliber of kind of number one films are.
Well, I was going to say, what about well, then again, it was the sequel to damn it,
Happy Gilmore?
Knives Out.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When you look at their rating, their top rated films, Glass Onion's not on that list. Okay. Which is surprising to me, especially with number 3. Now, number 3 comes out this year in that series. So, Wake Up Dead Man comes out at the end of this year. So, yeah, but when you look at the listing of the highest streamed shows for Netflix, I don't think Glass Onion's on that list for top 10. You might be able to fact check me for that, but at the moment, it's K-pop Demon Hunters is up there, is number 1. But before that, it was Red Notice with Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot, and that film is not great. So the fact that we actually have a film produced by Netflix, which is actually a good time and an enjoyable watch, is actually great to see. That the fact that they're doing it. What Netflix need to do is invest in actually doing theatrical releases and not putting things straight onto their streaming services, because they've realized with Glass Onion, like you said, if you put things out in theaters first, you're going to get a return when it hits your streaming service, because people go to the theater, they watch it, they enjoy it that much. Then when it eventually comes onto your streaming service, you get a boom of subscriptions and viewership because people have seen it in theaters and then they want to go back to your streaming service to watch it on streaming. So, long story short,
that's why I don't really like. I'm really turning away against Netflix because of the way that they somewhat treat their audience. Like they get the hype, they bring in the hype, and then once that hype drops down, then it's like, all right, we're getting rid of it. And then it's like, oh, I want to watch it again, but they don't release it on DVD or anything.
All they focus on is that they want subscriptions within the first 48 to 72 hours to boom for an IP to come in. And if they don't get it, then if they don't get a certain point, then they drop in. Like the fact that their longest running TV show is going to be Virgin River. They're going into, I think, their 7th season, and they've been renewed for an 8th. That is that's incredible, because no other Netflix series has gotten that lifespan. Everything else gets, like, the fact that Stranger Things is the biggest thing for them, and they're finishing at season 5. The fact that we've got Virgin River going to season 7 is absolutely incredible to witness. So, yeah, I watch Netflix majority of the time for their TV shows. I don't watch a lot of their original films. I give them a go if the marketing grabs me a bit. But Netflix don't do a lot with it when it comes to their marketing anyway. They don't do much marketing, which is another pain point for them. They don't invest in. They invest all this money into the production budget for the production budget for the film, but they don't do much when it comes to the marketing and getting the word out there to come watch their film. And you get that if you will put your film into a theater. So, long story short, I'll backtrack a bit. Thursday Motor Club, watch it. It's a good time. Sit down, enjoy it. Great cast, great comedy, good full time to have, and I gave it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd.
So from murder clubs to something, I guess that's in our backyard, kind of. It's supporting Australian films. And yes, so Reece, what did you watch that was so Aussie?
So carrying on from last week, I am consuming my thread going into Aussie films. So last week I went into high octane sci-fi fantasy action with primitive war, and this week I'm going into grounded drama film done or shot and filmed in South Australia, in Adelaide, and the title of the film is where it is based, which is Kangaroo Island.
Nice.
Now, this film stars a Aussie called Rebecca Reece, who anyone who knows her is from Home and Away. That's where I knew her from. And also a New Zealand legend called Eric Thompson, who will forever, in my eyes, be Mr. Rafter from Pact of the Rafters. Yep. Loved that show growing up. I got my wife before we got married to watch that show. We just love it. I love that show, and he was absolutely incredible in it. So this film is one of the things I found about this film is that it's first time in a long while where I actually walked into it not knowing any didn't know much. I didn't know much. I know the basics of the titular character, which is Rebecca Reece's character, which is Lou. She is an aspiring actress. She's failing in LA, and then a lot of strange things happen, and then and then that brings her home to South Australia, to Kangaroo Island, and to deal with her past and what had happened with her family and her sister, and at the time the love of her life, and comes down to coming to terms with her past and dealing with that, and dealing with things that are changing, things that have changed since she's been gone, and dealing with the future and what things can change in a blink of an eye and things like that. So that's the whole premise of the film. And this film does, like I said, I didn't actually, besides the notion of knowing that the premise of this film was just a aspiring actor is failing, she's coming home. That's pretty much all I knew about it. I haven't read about it. I haven't watched any of the marketing. I didn't see any of the trailers. I got a recommendation from my awesome sister-in-law. Hello out there. Hello. She pretty much told me about it, and I went, I love his supporting Australian film. It piques my interest a little bit. She told me the premise plot of that little snippet, and then I went, okay, done. I'm good. And then, unfortunately, when it comes to the style, there was only one session a day they were playing at certain cinema. It's not a completely nationwide release. They're only showing it at certain cinemas and only showing maybe one, maximum 2 sessions a day. So I grabbed onto the only session they were playing in my local area, which was very sad to see. But I'm so glad that I went and saw it, because there's a lot of plot points and narrative that they use in this film, which is very conversation. What's the word you used that would spark it sparks conversations. So there's a lot of narrative points that will do that. So I found that there's a lot of it's just
a conversation stimulator.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of points about it. Like there's one I'm pretty sure it's in the trailer where they have points about Christianity and the different sides of where you fall on. That's like the science side and the Big Bang side of lies into faith. In that point, and there's another point relating to something else, which I don't want to give away too much because we don't do spoilers in this podcast. But I got emotional towards the end of this film. There's a scene in this film which goes for about 5 minutes, and it's just where you've done well when it comes to not just the script, but also the direction, and not just direction, how the director got the performances out of the actors and how it's shot around it. They were able to do a scene which takes about 5 minutes. It's got all the characters in it, and one by one, it's just comes down to the 3 characters, which is Rebecca Reece's character Lou. You've got Adelaide Clemence's Freya, and then you've got Eric Thompson's Rory, which they're all Eric's the father, and then you've got the 2 girls, which is their sisters, and eventually it comes down to these 3, and it was all drama, but it was all dialogue, and I was just so captivated. You're hanging on every word, and that's where you've got a good drama, because you're hanging on the topics and how the characters are responding and how they're feeling and just getting all that emotion. And then when you get to the climax of the film in this last third act, all that is just coming around full circle in certain points, and some things will surprise you, which is where it kind of has its spark and brings things full circle. Like, I was watching in the first act, and I don't think I was feeling it a little bit within the first 15 minutes or so. But when you finally bring Rebecca Breach's character Lou home, and she starts back interacting with her father and her sister and her auntie and her partner, the long lost lover she had in the past, and just bringing back all these past feelings and past experiences, it just really started to get the grind of the film moving forward. And I just found it was very heartwarming to watch, seeing all this unfold. And it just proves to me, like, I'm so upset that the fact that these kind of films aren't getting an audience, and the fact that it's an Australian film, and just like Primitive War, like that Primitive War is getting exposure, but they're only getting 3 sessions a day, where you're getting all this. I'm not saying I don't love going to see my international films done by North America and things like that. I love it. I love my Marvel. I love my DC. I love all the films coming out of America. That's what I'm passionate about. But Australian films like this need to have a voice as well. And the fact that because they don't have much of a marketing budget to put them onto the big screen to kind of get it a push, and not many cinemas will put it onto, which in their defense, they're in the candy bar business, because what brings in money for cinemas is their candy bar. The films is what gets people to come into their shop, into their workspace, but then them buying popcorn and that kind of stuff, that's where they get their money. And if they've got a film they don't think they're going to bring much of that into them, they're not going to give it much time of putting many sessions on, which is understandable, which is kind of sad, which is where the marketing really takes a stride. You need to push these films out to show into a wider market, which is, I haven't seen much marketing of Kangaroo Island. If I didn't speak to my sister-in-law, I wouldn't have much known about this film if I didn't really know about it.
And the fact that you're talking about it, wouldn't have known about it until you
Exactly. You wouldn't have known about it. And Primitive War was the same thing. If I wasn't a fan of Luke Spark, the director, and of Lincoln Lewis and things like that, I wouldn't have known about this film, because I haven't seen any TV spots. I haven't seen any guerrilla marketing or any sort of marketing as well. The only thing I had picked up about Primitive War was when it was in the news on articles about the fact that they actually got a spot at San Diego Comic-Con.
And the fact that it's got
Tricia Heffernan.
Who I'm a fan of, and Jeremy Piven.
Yeah, they had international stars, and I think that's where Luke Spark gets it, is that he gets his international star to get that spotlight from that market to try and bring focus in on. And he did the same thing when he did Occupation with Luke Spark. He actually brought in international stars, but unfortunately when it comes to Kangaroo Island, it's a purely independent Australian-made, Australian cast, except for Eric, who's a Kiwi. But everyone's kind of the same thing about Sam Neill. We've kind of adopted him as an Aussie. Everyone kind of thinks that Sam Neill, everyone outside of us thinks that Sam Neill and Eric Thompson is a Aussie, but they're actually Kiwis. Yeah. So it's very much about that.
They're Australian until they do something bad, then they're
Kiwis.
The Kiwis. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think because it was an independent, they don't have too much drive for it to get it out there. I was so captivated by this film that it's one of those films I could sit down and watch again and probably get a different experience out of it, especially with the narrative and how it's done. I just think that it's done very beautifully, and only way Australian's done. It's very edited in a very point way. Now, I found that there's also some little quirks in there that makes a little comedy that kind of giggles about it. And this is not getting anything away. There's nothing about the plot or anything about that at all. So it's not a spoiler. But there's a certain little joke, and very much breaking the fourth wall in a way joke that they make in the film, where some drama's going on, and then the Arnie comes into the room and goes, "Wow, there's more drama going in this room than Home and Away." And the fact that Rebecca Breach,
Ryan Quinton, yeah,
and because Ryan, sorry, I'm talking about Kangaroo Island, and the fact that Rebecca Breach was in Home and Away. It was like, I see what you did there. That's a nice little joke, clever. Breaking the fourth wall on that point. So yeah, I thought just the rawness of the story, the topics that it tackled on. There's more than one topic that is conversation invoking. There's two. One is the Christianity. The second one I won't give away because that's a major plot point, and it's a major plot spoiler for the ending, so I don't want to give that away. But I thoroughly enjoyed this film. The only reason I gave this film 4 stars on my Letterboxd, and the only reason why I gave it didn't give it 4.5, or is the fact that the first 15 minutes felt a bit off in certain points when it comes to how they shot certain things and how the film was opened up. Like the first 20 minutes with her going from LA and getting back to Kangaroo Island and out in South Australia, I felt it was a little bit off in certain points. I didn't feel too much of it. But that's the only reason why I brought it down a bit. But it's still one I could definitely sit down and rewatch again and recommend it to others to watch as well. So Kangaroo Island, I would recommend it to anyone who wants to watch an Australian-made, beautifully made drama film and shot in South Australia. Yes, the film does its landscape shots, so it shows the beauty of Kangaroo Island and South Australia. So please go out. And I probably won't be able to see it in cinemas because it probably won't have a very limited release. It'll probably be taken off the cinemas very soon. But other than that, I would say go and give it a go.
Well, that concludes this episode of Reece's Reviews. And so there we go. You got your 3 movies right there, and you can get onto those and definitely give yourself either a belly laugh or go into some seriousness and just entertain yourself. But if you agree with our ratings or you want to express your opinion on anything, feel free to email us info@mygeekculture.com.au. Also follow Reece as well on Letterboxd, CashelSkyGuy, as well as myself, Matt Fulton, .com.au. And yeah, we're looking forward to the next episode of Reece's Reviews. Reece, thank you very much for diving into your movie collection.
Thank you. And thank you very much and everyone, let's just get a big round of applause. Matthew, man, he's back. Woo! He's back. He's back on the podcast.
Okay. Great. Stop it. It's okay. Thank you. And you did well, Reece, at holding the fort. So well done. All right. Stay subscribed and we'll catch you on the next episode of Reece's Reviews. This has been a My Geek Culture podcast and produced by Matt Fulton Productions, mattfulton.com.au. Catch you next episode.
See you, everybody. May the force be with you.